This is the boldest final ever, people. So me and Breton decided for episode 85 do the boldest giveaway ever. So we're going to give out 3 hoodies to the best comments here on the YouTube comment section of FC Wonderkid, people. This final was the boldest. And how are you doing, Breton?
I'm like Angel Di Maria over here. I'm going through an emotional roller coaster. I don't know if you saw him on the bench after he was taken out in like the 65th minute, but that man went through some things in terms of watching his team almost give it away. But I think I have to expand this. Not only was that the best World Cup final that I've ever seen, that was likely, the best collection of World Cup results, the best collection of World Cup action from a footballing perspective that I have ever seen, and I don't even think it's debatable. What about you?
The best final ever. 100%.
Yeah.
The World Cup in terms of moments, Japan, Saudi Arabia beating Argentina, that I agree with you, it was a big factor for this World Cup win. This final showed everything together. Messi, Mbappé, Martinez, Enzo, all these players had unbelievable bold moments, and I have to say we are so lucky to love this beautiful game. Reportedly 4 billion people, 4 billion, saw this game. Messi's greatness, it has to be said, in terms of World Cup, he was the best player in this World Cup, in my opinion. Messi did what he had to do for Argentina to win this game. And I want to give a shout out to Enzo, dictating that midfield, and Emiliano Martinez, the clutchness of this man, with Otamendi too. Big credit to him. 4 billion people watching, Brenton. Like, in the States, you guys must be seeing like, wow, football is the greatest sport ever.
I made my child cry today. I screamed so loud at the television. So if that's me doing that, I can only imagine what the bars, what the fan zones, what the rest of the world was watching. Because I don't know if anyone's done the math here, but 4 billion people, that's half the world tuning into this. That is half the world tuning in to 2 teams playing the game, playing the best World Cup final on record. And I just have to say it before we move on. I know we'll talk a little bit about France as we get deeper into this, but if Leo Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo have been having a, WhatsApp chat for years about, going back and forth about who's the GOAT, I think there's a Kylian Mbappé with the ... getting ready to text there, because he's getting ready to enter the chat when it comes to greatest of all time. To put, I don't think people can comprehend what type of like mental acuity you have to have to not only put 2 penalties in regulation, or 2 penalties in regulation and extra time away, and then to step up a 3rd time against one of the best shot savers on the planet, and do it a 3rd time. And not only that, to execute that beautiful volley off of that wonderful Marcus Thuram, what was it, a cushioned pass in the 18. The game that Kylian Mbappé put in, before we get to what Leo Messi did, the game that Kylian Mbappé put in is bar none entering him into that GOAT chat, because this man is 23 years old. He is only the 2nd person ever to score in back-to-back World Cup finals. Okay? And it's unbelievable.
And the second to score a hat-trick in a final of the World Cup.
Oh my gosh.
That is unbelievable too. Like Mbappé, and this is surprising too. Going with what you said, and I agree, Mbappé has entered the GOAT conversation because he is 23, and we will see him peak 2 more World Cups. 2 more World Cups. So this is mad, and he's the player with the most goals scored in World Cup finals. The most, with 4 goals scored, Mbappe. So Florentino Perez, get this done. Vini, Hendrik, Mbappe, Tchouameni. It's inevitable. Inevitable. Mbappe, I just didn't know what to say watching it. Like,
I goosebumps.
shocking. Shocking.
I had goosebumps, man. And here's the crazy thing. Here's your daily reminder, I guess, or your World Cup reminder that Lionel Messi and Kylian Mbappé play for the same team. They play for the same club team. And it's like you kind of want to ask yourself, why isn't PSG just kind of waltzing its way to the Champions League final? Well, I'll tell you what. I'll tell you what. We can talk about Kylian Mbappe as entering the GOAT chat. We can talk about Leo Messi being the GOAT. But when it comes down to it, Leo Messi was not winning this World Cup without the help of, you already mentioned him, Enzo Fernandez, without the help of Alexis Mac Allister, who, by the way, was the unsung hero of that final up until he was taken out, without the help of Angel Di Maria, who put in 65 minutes of a shift. We know he wasn't fit. And to be honest, I thought that the game turned when Angel Di Maria was subbed off. Their offense was their best defense. It was pinning France back. It was not allowing France to really get numbers forward. And when that happened, Leo Messi got, to be honest, a little bit careless, to get the negatives out of the way. He was in that, what was it, the 70-something minute or the 65th minute? It took 90 seconds for them to turn, for France and Kylian Mbappe to turn the game on their head. And I just got to give a shout out to Didier Deschamps for having the brass ones to take Olivier Giroud and Ousmane Dembele out and replace them with Randall Kolo Muani, literally the last guy on the French roster.
Facts.
And Marcus Thuram, the son of Lilian Thuram, a 1998 World Cup France winner, their first one ever. And those guys had a ridiculous impact on this game and really allowed Kylian Mbappe to shine, because they opened things up. They gave him the clear-cut chances that he needed. And all of this, it just made me think, like, I have never, my wife is a big Messi fan, okay? All the way back from Tiki-Taka days. I've never seen my wife start crying and stop crying multiple times in 120 minutes of football as much as I did. So it really, like, the household here, it's a little microcosm of the world. But my household here, football lovers and non-football lovers alike, were glued to that television watching two guys go hard, and it was unbelievable, man. It was unbelievable.
You mentioned Di Maria, and I'm gonna say Di Maria has been the partner in crime with Messi since 2005. They won the Under-20 World Cup together. Di Maria scored in Finalissima. Di Maria scored in Copa America, and now Di Maria scores in the World Cup final that makes Messi win the World Cup with Argentina. The third time ever in the Argentinian history. Di Maria is the most underrated player next to Thomas Müller in the history of football of this generation, in my opinion. It's unanimous right now. And Di Maria, needs a statue wherever he's from in Argentina, man. Okay? He is one of the greatest. I'm going to say it. And not repeat. Going back to Mbappe too. Mbappe at 23 is the youngest player to have double digits goals in the World Cup too. In the World Cup too. And there's no value right now for this player. I really don't know how much is enough for him to leave. I
don't know either. I don't know either.
Incomprehensible.
It is incomprehensible, because literally it all was 65 or 75 minutes of football, because in the first 45 minutes he had 11 touches.
Facts.
Kylian Mbappe had 11 touches, and then he Erling Haalanded. He Erling Haalanded everybody. It was just like when he got his chance, he put it away. And that just baffles me to think. Like, here we are talking about how Erling Haaland could wind up being, one of the GOATs at some point, right? But he may never get a chance to step on the field in the FIFA World Cup.
Facts.
And Kylian Mbappe has already scored double-digit goals. He's 23 years old. He's put countless times put the French national team on his back in just the last few months, few years. And here we are. Just it was almost like a passing of the torch. But I do have to say, if you're a neutral in any way, shape, or form, or even if you're not an Argentina fan or you're not a Messi fan, you have to feel for this man. This man has gone through the ringer, not just in his own mind, not just at Barcelona and the drama that happened there near the end, coming off of one of the most successful decades in Barcelona history, if not the most successful decade in Barcelona history. And always in the back of his mind, it was, I need to get this done for Argentina. And it got so bad how his countrymen at times at times were treating him, telling them that, you know, he wasn't trying, he couldn't get it done. There's no way you could compare him against the Maradona. A lot of people don't remember this. This was only 5-6 years ago.
True.
Right? And now he returns, and within the span of what, 2 years, he delivers a Copa America, he delivers a Finalissima, and he delivers a World Cup final to Argentina.
Messi.
This man is the GOAT. Messi is the GOAT.
Definitely inspiring the nation of football to become better players, man. Unbelievable moment. And Mbappé, look, Mbappé scoring 2 goals in 2 minutes. That was clearly, one of the clutchest moments in the history of sports. 4 billion people watching, and it's absolutely mad that Mbappé had pictures on his wall of Cristiano Ronaldo one day imagining he could equal that greatness. And that moment definitely equaled the greatness, man. And that's why Mbappé is now entering the GOAT chat in terms of debates. So it all depends on how many Champions Leagues he's going to get, how many international goals he's going to get. Mbappé now is put on the spotlight. I have to say just that. And you said like 73 minutes. France didn't even do a shot. One shot. No shot. No. They didn't risk it. And Tchouaméni too looked nervous at times, Tchouaméni didn't have the greatest of games. Griezmann didn't have the greatest of games. Players that were clutch until the final. And Mbappé showed up big time in this final. And no question marks now on this kid. And people were saying, he didn't score in the semi-final. Now what? Now what? It's like, what can you hate more? I just don't get it. But Argentina, Otamendi, Enzo, Mac Allister, Di Maria, even Dybala at the end, he had some effect. Like Molina, Julian Alvarez, being very, very involved. I got to say this too. This Argentinian squad deserves to win the World Cup. I do think, though, that there was a lot of questionable decisions of the referee. Sure. I'm going to say this. This World Cup was very strange with referee decisions. I'm going to say that. But Argentina, one of the greatest moments we've seen in football history, like Argentina went bold in this final. So. And
with that said, and I understand that because, refereeing is always a hot topic. And I don't think unanimously there's anyone that ends a World Cup and goes, well, that refereeing was great. I mean, you always want to blame somebody other than the squad, and fine. But listen, the Polish guy, the gentleman from Poland that ran the show here, and I'm sorry I'm forgetting his name, I thought he did a wonderful job in this final. And any of us that thought, I don't know why I thought that this might be potentially, it's one of those things where you are so excited for this Mbappe-Messi showdown that it winds up being kind of a dud of a World Cup final. Why did we ever think that? Because does anyone remember the round of 16 matchup in 2018? Fuck. Another ridiculously bonkers game. We had the Ben Pavard golazo. You had Mbappe scoring 2 goals. You had Messi scoring. You had it was a 4-3 win when all was said and done. We had to have assumed that this one was going to deliver, but the fact of the matter was it not only delivered, it exceeded in terms of the amount of what the heck is going on moments, or to quote French, c'est fou. It was insane. It was crazy. Everything was insane about that whole thing. And I just, I don't know, man. I don't know. I could go through it. It's just insane because Argentina becomes the first, since the 2010 Spanish national team, becomes the first team to lose their first group stage game against Saudi Arabia. A wonderful memory of this World Cup, a historic win of Saudi Arabia against Argentina, which forced Lionel Scaloni to make the changes he needed to make. And then they rode Enzo Fernandez, they rode Alexis Mac Allister, they rode Lisandro Martinez, they rode Alvarez, all the way to that final. And in the end, I agree with you. Lautaro Martinez, putting him in, was actually one of the biggest difference makers in that extra time. And they should have been able to kind of get that done, right? They should have been able to get it done and close it out, and they weren't able to do it. But when it came down to it, it's amazing that statistics won out here, because the whole narrative was, if it gets the penalties, who's the better shot stopper? Emiliano Martinez. Absolutely, right? I mean, even Hugo Lloris has come out and said, I'm not very good at penalties. Okay, I don't know if he said it as direct as that. But when it came down to it, Emiliano Martinez literally was like a kid in a candy shop, stoning penalties, getting in the heads of guys like Chouameni, who, let's be honest, like France rode a not their best squad. They rode their depth to a second consecutive World Cup final. I mean, they've made it to the finals in what, 4 of the last 6 or 7 World Cups? They could have won.
That's the beauty of this. They
Amazing.
could have won. And this is bold too. Like, Messi became the first player ever to score in every knockout stage game in the World Cup, okay? That, again, shows the clutchness of him. I know a lot were pens, but some pens aren't easy with the pressure you have. And in this game, guaranteed it wasn't easy. Lionel Messi is, once again, I'll say it, considered the best player in this World Cup in terms of clutchness and in terms of what he had to do. And I'm going to give a big credit to Messi playing the way he did. Okay, I'm going to give big credit to Lionel Scaloni, okay? Big companies like Google want the workers to be happy. Scaloni made everything around Messi to be happy. The positive environment in that locker room was because of Scaloni picking the right players at the right time. And he did the changes after that Saudi Arabia game, I agree. Alvarez and Enzo being the biggest ones. 5 months ago at River, and now World Cup winners, man. Unbelievable story. And and another fact, it's the factor of environment and the substitutions. Scaloni showed that he is one of the best World Cup managers in the history of this game, because winning Finalissima, winning Copa America, and now the World Cup, he was the manager, the right manager to go in this ride with Lionel Messi. And big credit needs to be said. Look how Fernando Santos leaves with Cristiano Ronaldo. Not the same. Not the same. Seeing Scaloni do this, it's and Deschamps too with Mbappé. Like, them two, they got that relationship. And Benzema, a lot of reports say that he left the French squad because he wants Zidane to be the French manager. And Mbappé, I think he backs Deschamps. And look, it looks good, man. Deschamps, they're playing very well. And Camavinga's going to be better. Chouameni's going to be better. Konate should have played this game. Look at the game of Morocco. He should be instead of Upamecano. But Upamecano's still young too. They're going to be better. Dembele, not the best World Cup. Hopefully he'll be better next World Cup. And Mbappe will definitely be much, much better. So only positives for France in the next 12 years of football. So
absolutely. I think based on all of the players that were out, everybody that was out, if you and tell me if I'm wrong. I'd love to know if I'm wrong in the comments here. I mean, if you're a French fan, if you're a Les Bleus fan, coming into this World Cup, if somebody said to you, you're going to make it to the World Cup final, you're going to have every chance to win it. I think they would have taken it, because guys like, Randall Kolo Muani and Marcus Thuram were kind of afterthoughts heading into this tournament.
True.
You lost Nkunku, you lost Pogba, you lost literally almost every guy that got you there in 2018, not Nkunku, but we know Pogba, we know Conte, right? Those are two massive, massive pieces, and they've been injured for some time, so it was kind of expected. But when it comes down to it, it was a true test of French depth. And my God, did French depth deliver. My God, did they deliver. Camavinga, Chouameni, Fofana, I mean, these are guys that you could build multiple cycles around, multiple World Cup cycles around. And Upamecano, did he have the greatest first half? No. But did he make a couple ridiculous last-ditch saves, where he got that toe to the ball? That saved them from getting a third? That's fine. But, when it comes down to it, I'm more impressed, because obviously the outcome will how the sausage was made will not necessarily be remembered. The only thing that matters is Argentina is going on that World Cup trophy, right? True. But when it comes down to it, my goodness, for about 70 minutes, it looked like Argentina had put France down, and that this game was going to be finished off without a whimper.
Facts.
And then something happened. And I'm going to pinpoint the Di Maria substitution, Kingsley Coman coming on. I'm going to say that substitution switched momentum for some reason, And before we know it, within 90 seconds, this is a game again. And Argentina, Scaloni got a lot right, but Argentina did a lot wrong. They didn't learn from their mistakes against the Netherlands. They didn't learn from the multiple times they pissed, good results away and good, first forays into the account. And it's just a quick reminder that this game is 90 minutes long. And it does not change. It does not take that long to change a game on a dime. And when you have Kylian Mbappé, it takes a lot less than it would for other teams to do that. Because if Wout Weghorst can do it to you in a couple minutes, Kylian Mbappé only needs the 90 seconds it took him to do so. So, unbelievable. I mean, they still got growth.
But Argentina did learn with pens. They beat the Netherlands and they beat now the French, man. And this too, like Lionel Messi, what a beautiful way to have as a memory for Diego Maradona, okay? We're 2 years, rest in peace, Maradona, and 2 years after, Lionel Messi wins the World Cup the way he does too. Like being the best player in the tournament too. Like, and the last time Argentina won the World Cup was in 1986 with himself, Diego Maradona. So third time in the history of Argentina to do that. And now Messi is definitely like going bold. I can't. It's very hard, man.
I know it's hard for you. I know it's. But listen.
Oh my days! In terms of football ability, man, Messi is he's clear now. It's very hard. Krish has to do something now, like that. And what motivation, man, for Ronaldo watching Mbappé, like Cristiano was his idol, and Messi, his biggest rival, to do this. In the biggest stage of football, I'm sure Cristiano Ronaldo of everyone is the most motivated person on earth right now. On earth, I'm not joking. On earth, I really feel that. I really feel that.
I hear you. Do you think that Cristiano Ronaldo stood up and clapped, or do you think he wept a tear?
I think he got frustrated.
When all is said and done.
I think he got frustrated. Okay. I really think right now Messi's going to win the 8th Ballon d'Or. Messi's going to win the 8th Ballon d'Or, even if PSG do a bad Champions League. That I don't reckon is going to be the case. They got Mbappé, Neymar, and Messi there. So I think it's going to be very hard for Ronaldo this year, especially losing his son, all these problems. Like like for Portugal, we're in a rebuild. And seeing Argentina so solid as they are, like Messi's leaving the world's biggest stage and dropping the mic. So he needs to keep on singing. He needs to keep on having the mic, because if history's gonna end in his favor, he needs to go bolder, because right now Messi's ahead. So that's what I really reckon.
Two lighter noted kind of popular culture things here. Leo Messi made Drake a whole lot richer. So there's that. Means nothing, but Drake put a million
minutes. I think it was 90 minutes. Though.
Oh, was it in 90 minutes? So,
I don't know.
So he lost it all?
Well, put it in the comment section, because if he's the winner, I agree with that. But if it's 90 minutes, man. And I just wanted to say too, Brett, in this, like, it's crazy that Messi wasn't even nominated for the top 30 of the Ballon d'Or this year in October. Yeah. That is criminal.
After winning.
After winning. And now he's going to win the 8th. And that just shows how ridiculous the voting are. We should have votes for that, Bretson. Come on. You in the States, me in Portugal. I don't know who has the votes here, but I'm going after them, because I definitely wouldn't leave Messi out of the top 30, man. Criminal. I don't know how it's done, but criminal. Jeez.
Clearly, my top 3. I mean, most people would probably think my top 3 would be Christian Pulisic, Gio Reyna, Tyler. Just kidding. No, I agree with you. I mean, that's all France football.
But who's your top 3 right now for the Ballon d'Or?
Well, it's got to go Messi, Mbappe,
Haaland.
Yeah, Haaland as it stands. I mean, how many?
I agree.
Haaland, if he wants any chance, he's not going to overtake Messi. But if he wants any chance to potentially overtake Messi, he's going to have to score literally, 20 goals in the Champions League, knockout round and win it all.
And win the Prem.
And win the Prem.
Yeah, and I believe that can be this is something like, just mentioning City fast. I think Joshko Gvardiol is going to Man City, and when Pep Guardiola gets that contract extension, that means proper business is coming. 300 million spent, and Haaland's been working nonstop this winter. I believe Haaland like Cristiano Ronaldo, is one of the most motivated athletes to go bold the second half of this season. So I really reckon Man City are going to win the Prem. Because come on, how many goals is Haaland going to score? Just wanted to say that. Because
I don't know.
And they're going to spend.
Yeah, but but come on, if Liverpool gets Enzo or Liverpool goes for Bellingham or I don't know. I mean, they could turn this on its head some. Well, not Liverpool this year. Not Liverpool this season. I'm sorry.
Exactly.
It's only been a month and I've already forgotten what the Premier League table looks like. That's
maybe Newcastle.
That's pretty bad.
Maybe Newcastle. They never know. Newcastle, that's a fixture there away. I think 26th Newcastle Arsenal. So I don't know if it's 26th, but it's this month. So they're gonna play Brighton and Newcastle Arsenal. Tough matches. Just wanted to.
Well, come on. Speaking of Brighton.
Yes.
Like what does Enzo Mac Allister or what does Enzo? What does Alexis Mac Allister do? He goes back to Brighton and like Graham Potter calls him up and says, "Here's 150 million Todd Bowley bucks. I want you to come on over to us." Like he's going. I know. He's going back to Brighton, and I don't mean this with any disrespect, but he's going back to Brighton to serve balls to Danny Welbeck, and he's in there with 33-year-old, 34-year-old Solly March, who are great serviceable players, but it's pretty damn clear that Alexis Mac Allister is a top-tier player.
Facts.
And one that needs to make a big, high-profile move. And
he's going to move.
He's going to. I just don't. I mean, Brighton, as it stands, Brighton just keeps getting fleeced by Chelsea when it comes to staff leaving. Graham Potter, who's the most recent one, David Datro Fofana, the 19-year-old Ivorian striker that's going there instead of Brighton, which was their big transfer thing. So hopefully Alexis Mac Allister stays the rest of the season for them. But like that man.
And I can say this, man. Look what's next.
Shoosh.
Mac Allister's leaving in January, I reckon. And Moises Caicedo. Even him that had a bold World Cup for Ecuador. Let's not forget that. Chelsea are definitely interested in getting him when N'Golo Kante, his form is dropping. So Mac Allister, maybe Mac Allister too, or Caicedo. I predict one of them is definitely going to Chelsea. Definitely. And I've seen reports already. Why am I saying Joško Gvardiol to Man City? Because I really believe there's a possibility of Caicedo to Chelsea and Hincapie too going to Chelsea. Left-footed center back that went bold for Ecuador. And he's like 20 years old still, or 21. Very young. Very young. What a player. So I just wanted to put that out too. But yeah, man, what a World Cup. What a World Cup.
I think we need to do a live. Once we have a little time to digest it all, we need to do a live this week where we kind of recap our favorite moments, favorite memories of this World Cup, because there were so many. And
I want to ask you this. Who's the best player? We're both unanimously saying Lionel Messi. Top goal scorer, it's Mbappé. You can't debate that. And who for you is the best midfielder of the World Cup?
Oh my gosh, best midfielder. I don't know. Who's yours? You got to give me some, because I've got 3 or 4. Tchouaméni,
I'm gonna give credit. Not in the final, but until then, he went very bold. Amrabat. Amrabat, I think, can be in the discussion, obviously, too, for best midfielder.
Can be. I think he should be. Absolutely. That was one of the first that came to my head. I honestly believe that after this, you probably have. I don't know how you choose. Yeah, Enzo or Mac Allister. I know.
Enzo. Enzo better.
Dude, Mac Allister delivered the assist.
Enzo Fernandez is more crucial, in my opinion.
Mac Allister almost scored again. I mean, Mac Allister was everywhere in that final. I thought he was absolutely vital to that final. And I do have to throw out there before I forget to. What a day for Leo Messi's bodyguard. DePaul gave everything he absolutely could. Was he Copa America final Rodrigo DePaul? No, he was not. But did he put everything he had to out there? Yeah, I think so. Did he do everything he could? I mean, he was the one crying more tears of joy at the end of that match when that whistle went off, hugging Leo Messi as if it meant more to him that Leo won it than it meant that he won it. You know, I think I got my words mixed up there.
It's true.
But you got to give him some clout there, because he started the tournament looking very iffy, looking not good at all. And he grew into the tournament, and he played some pretty vital roles in that midfield. I just think that Argentine midfield was phenomenal in those knockout rounds. I think if you could give best midfield to that Argentine midfield, I'd give it
Enzo.
to them all collectively. I know you want to give it to Enzo. He's great.
Enzo's the best of them, man. And like Mac Allister will leave Brighton for like what, 40 million in the Prem. Enzo's gonna leave Benfica for like 80. Good. Enzo, like, and in terms of midfielders I got here, best midfielders, young midfielders to shout: Jude Bellingham, Gavi, Moisés Caicedo, Mohamed Kudus, like Enzo Fernandez, Unai, the big revelation of this World Cup, breakout player for FC Wonderkid. So it's a World Cup to remember, even in terms of youth talents, man. So give us your thoughts on the World Cup final, people. What did we miss to talk about the final that we didn't say? Because, man, this was crazy. But I want to mention Southgate. I don't want to forget Southgate in all this. You were right. Southgate is going to remain the manager of England 2 more years until 2024, 100%. So let's see how the Euros go for Harry Kane on this one. No rugby penalties, okay?
Okay. Yeah, no, but I think now the next one you got to wrestle. It seems as if, I mean, getting Deschamps getting France to the final, there is a shout to potentially see Deschamps continue, but I think he's done, right? And I don't know, maybe it's already been announced that he's decided.
I don't know. I don't know.
But it doesn't feel like the French to like hold on, for too long.
I don't know though.
Yeah,
it's a tough one, but Zidane is definitely the option that it's Deschamps or Zidane. So you reckon France should go for Zidane now?
So I'm going to make an overgeneralization here and say that I feel like it's as good of a time as any to do it, because I feel like it's unlike the French, or at least unlike the French Federation, to really be like, we'll just keep Deschamps. Not because I feel like Deschamps, I mean, at times, early on in those Nations League games when they were losing twice to Denmark. But when it comes down to it, the big tournaments, World Cup.
It's Mbappe's decision. I think it all goes back to, what does Mbappé want? Does Mbappé want Deschamps or Zidane? I think he doesn't mind both, but if it's working, why change it?
Yeah.
So I'm going to back if Southgate stays for England, Deschamps should definitely stay for France when Kanté is off, Pogba's off, Nkunku's off. Like so many people.
At least through the Euros. Yeah. I'm with you, at least through the Euros, but it's been like the Euros, they with a much stronger squad. French got bounced by Switzerland, right? And now we're losing in the final of the World Cup, which is just bonkers. Because do you remember, like, at the beginning, you and I were wrestling with the fact, like, France has a easy group, but they're facing Denmark, and there's a couple ifs here. Like, could France continue the curse? And ultimately, they wind up kind of proving us all wrong when it comes down to it. So, but there's big question marks they have a lot of depth, this French national team. But their 2 best strikers. Their 2 best strikers are who?
True,
35 and 34, 35 and I don't know. Benzema's 34, maybe 30.
Matisse Tell's coming.
Yeah,
I just want that clip out. I just want that clip out. Okay, 17-year-old at Bayern.
Kolo Muani made a statement for me. I think Marcus Thuram has a shot. I don't know, dude, but like there is change coming for this French national team.
Yeah, man. France, the academies just keep like crazy, man. I think 95% of the players in the French team, they're from French academies. So or 95% of the players born in France in this World Cup come from French academies. That's the right stat. More than 95. So it just shows if you're born in France, you stay and you improve there, because that's the best decision you can do. And Clairefontaine, Mbappé, Thierry, I'm sure more and more talents are going to come through. And Ethan Mbappé didn't got accepted to Clairefontaine, but he's already played for PSG's first team. So I just want to say we're going to see Ethan Mbappé playing with Kylian Mbappé in the near future too for PSG.
We'll see.
And
we'll see.
We're definitely going to see that, Breton. Definitely.
There's I mean, maybe for the clip, but I think there's a little bit of a ceiling on Ethan. I don't know if, I've watched a little bit of him play.
He's so young.
But he is so young. And he got his first time, right? He got his first time in a friendly for PSG. Recently.
Exactly. So that's
good on him.
That's like Mbappe's clearly justifying him why he stayed at PSG
Yeah.
because he grows up with his brother. He gets more money than any other football player in the world. And he can, conditioning-wise, he can have these moments in the World Cup and be considered one of the greatest players in the history of football. And next to his brother, because family's important. Family's important. And the celebration of his brother after he scored the third goal.
Is
He
amazing.
was so bold, man. And I love the camera.
Amazing.
Like, this World Cup, in terms of camera views, they did their research and they went bold. FIFA, I got to say, man, great decision with the camera views, man. I was shocked with some of them.
Luka Modrić getting hugged by his dad. I mean, if you're a father, right, you know what that's like. And here he is hugging his 37-year-old Modrić, 37-year-old son as if he was a 5-year-old, right, kissing him all over the face, just so proud of what Luka has accomplished and what he accomplished in that moment. Not getting Croatia, third place?
You gotta mention that. Croatia got the third.
4 million people in this country, and in 1998 they finished third. In 2018 they finished second, and in 2022 they finished third again. And while none of those are World Cup wins, to do that, you have to have this ridiculous togetherness, this ridiculous understanding of how you play for the national team. You have to have a good coach. I don't know where Zlatko Dalic is going to go after this, or if he's ever going to leave the Croatian national team, because he's professor emeritus there for as long as he wants to be, in my opinion. But there are a lot of national teams that will be going through some transition periods.
True.
And I think if you're looking at a guy like Luka Modrić, you could see maybe a little bit of Luka Modrić in a Luka Susic.
I think he'll be a coach. I think Modrić will be a coach in the future. And you say Luka Susic, Gvardiol, Lovro Mađar's still young. And you got Roko Simic, pa. He's going to be that striker one day. I believe in that kid too. So Croatian national team in terms of youth. And Livakovic he's still like in his mid-20s too. So,
27,
And Kovacic till mid-20s too. So it's like they really have a good future. Really good have a good future.
They do. And even, like, I know he didn't get much time, but Sutalo behind them at center back, he's very good. Juranovic, who's a little bit older, he had a great tournament. Probably will move on from Celtic.
Orsic.
Orsic, I am a big fan of Mislav Orsic. Yeah, I wanted him, and I understand why, but I really wanted him to get more time in those group stages and in that knockout round. And it was great to see him get his time in that third place final. But I'm talking about like Luka Modrić because it sounds like he's probably going to go at least through the Nations League fixtures with Croatia and then decide what he wants to do. But there's a transition that's coming, and you can't replace Modrić, but you can, build a unit around him. And I think the same thing obviously has to happen with Leo Messi, because I don't think Leo Messi is going to pull a Tom Brady here and be like, oh, by the way, not retiring. We're going to keep going. I think Messi is going to find a new life in the United States of America.
Woo! You really think he's going to the MLS?
Yeah, I do think he's going to the MLS. I think he's going to be a ridiculous ambassador to the game leading up to the 2026 World Cup. And then I also think if Argentina was smart, if AFA was smart, after PSG, if AFA was smart, they would find a way to make this man front and center, like the guy that makes sure that they can churn out as many Messis as possible in the future, or if not as many Messis, as many Di Marias as possible in the future. Because if you go and you search U21s or U20s or U19s, there's a lot of talent out there, but there's nobody that you look at and you say, my goodness, aside from maybe Garnacho or Zeballos or Sule or, the names, there's nobody that goes, oh my goodness, Argentina is going to be amazing for years and years and years, at least on the attacking front. On the midfield front, I think they're going to be just fine. I think they're going to be just fine for years and years to come, because Mac Allister, Enzo, I mean, these guys aren't going anywhere. And Julian Alvarez, obviously, phenomenal performance in this tournament. So Argentina has a transition period moving forward. They do.
I'm going to be on the other side of the fence here because, I think Messi... I understand. I think Messi will definitely go to the MLS eventually, but I just hope he stays one more season in Europe to win, to see him more in the Champions League, and I hope it's at Barca.
I was gonna say you still want him back at Barca.
I want 1 year of Lionel Messi with Xavi, And then he goes to the Inter Miami and becomes part owner and a billionaire in the meantime.
Yeah.
And like before he's 40. Cristiano Ronaldo, Lionel Messi, before they're 40, they're going to be billionaires. And Mbappé before he's 30. Before he's 30, he's going to be a billionaire. Okay, 100%. And that just shows the power of football. Like with the best sport, the biggest sport ever in the history of humanity. That has to be said. So, like, even wars have stopped because they wanted to play a football match in peace, man. That happened in the history of the game. Exactly, World War I.
World War One. I know that story. It's like, I think there's even a movie that's okay about it. But
that's insane.
No, listen, it's probably the only fully global game. And if there's one thing having this in Qatar, and we can talk politics, we can talk, whatever. While the way it was done was not exactly above board, there is one thing to making sure that this game sees all parts of the planet equally in some respects, and I just can't wait for 2026. I think we're losing one of the largest ambassadors of the game when it comes to somebody wanting to watch in terms of Messi, and we're losing another one in Ronaldo if he decides obviously not to go forward with 2026 World Cup, which seems really weird to think about right now, but it's only 3.5 years away. But when it comes down to it, while we can argue about how globalized the sport is, about how I know a lot of people out there want to argue how corrupt the sport might be and things like that. This is obviously the most connected this sport has ever been on this planet, right? And the most connected people have ever been to this sport, and that in and of itself, warms my heart. I know that if I travel on this planet to pretty much any far-reaching city, I know that I could probably find somebody there that wants to debate Messi versus Ronaldo, that wants to debate Man United versus Man City, that wants to debate the history of football. And I know that even if I don't speak the language of the place I'm going to, I speak the language of football. And that makes me happy to no end, and I can't wait for it to come to my backyard to invite all y'all into my backyard and show you how we can do it here. But my goodness, that was a fun tournament, dude, and I think
that was unbelievable. And I love how you said, like, the backyard, man. It's true. It's in the backyard of every home, a football ball, man. I absolutely love that. And President Infantino has even revealed that in 2025 we're going to have another tournament. That's the World Cup with 16 groups of 3 teams. This is going to be interesting, but I don't know how players are going to play another tournament of football for more views, for more games, and for more
money.
Moments. It's true. But like, nobody watches the World Cup of clubs, man. Like the Club World Cup. It gives they're trying to do a bigger tournament than the Champions League, but we all know that the Champions League's the boldest. Yeah. And it's gonna change format too. Oh my days, that's gonna be risky.
It is. And I'm okay. I guess I'm okay with around the 32, tournament that kind of replaces the Confederations Cup. There's a good chance that and I know that's national teams, it replaces it with club teams, and but there's a good chance that'll be held, and it'll be kind of the litmus test, or the test before the big test of the United States. My guess is it'll wind up 2025 being in the United States. It's just, at some point you have to look at the wear and tear on these footballers. 60 to 70 games, not even counting in some cases international fixtures for these players. You could make the argument that that's just way too much. And then I know there's the other side of the coin where people say, do you see how much these players are paid? That's true. They should play 60, 70, 80, whatever. Do you see the, bigger rosters? I think if there's one thing that's going to come out of this World Cup, I'm pretty certain we're never going back to a 23-person roster for the World Cup.
I agree.
Right? I think the subs might stay. I think instead of back to 3 subs, we get the 5 subs for the rest of time. But
because of ref, I think we should mic the refs too. I hope this World Cup opened eyes to we need to improve ref ability and ref levels, because in terms of football ability, that was one of the best World Cups we've ever seen, and in terms of refereeing, it just didn't match. So I would love to have mics on the ref, and just like in rugby, I think they show or American football. Do they show too?
No, not as much as people would like. No,
So
there's definitely
I hope
not.
football does. I hope football does.
Yeah. I mean, American football, there's more explanation on the field, absolutely, than you would ever get in a football match. A soccer match. So yes, having a discourse around why the decision was made or what rule was cited, wouldn't that be helpful for everybody to learn the game? But obviously, the flip side of that coin is going to wind up being then everybody becomes the ref. And we're already all the ref anyway, so what would we all have to crow about if it wasn't referee?
And we would just see the logic behind the decisions. Yes, we would say, he was wrong there, but at least like we saw like how he thought, so we can just point out. I think transparency is key.
Transparency is key. I agree.
And what are your final shouts here in the pod, man? Because we were in the World Cup so much. But a lot happened in the world of football, like Datro Fofana, no?
Yes.
My dream, I want to play at Chelsea. Didier Drogba idol, for sure. Ivory Coast striker, Datro Fofana goes bold and signs for Chelsea. Todd Boyle, I like that call.
Yeah, of course, and they're fleecing Brighton once again in the process. But hey, for 10 million euros, yes, I would go get this guy. Datro Fofana, not only does he have... Okay, I can't say that he is Haaland in any way, shape, or form, but does he have some similarities to Haaland? Obviously, he plays for Molde. Haaland played for Molde. He has gone absolutely insanely bold for Molde in their Elite Syrian win over this last season, scoring I think it's 20 goal involvements in the last 22 or 23 games. He wins the title, and then he makes his move to where he wants to go. It obviously falls on the sadder news of Armando Broja being out for the rest of the season and maybe the beginning of next season with his ACL injury. So if Datro Fofana is signed, there's actually a good chance he gets a little time. But there's so much beyond this. Once we recap this World Cup, maybe in a live, maybe in the next podcast, now we got to turn our sights to what? The transfer window.
Yeah, Ronaldo, man. What's Ronaldo's call? Now it's
Ronaldo.
Time. He's going to stay in Europe now. I can guarantee you that, Breton. He's not.
Oh, really?
I can guarantee you that after this game. Knowing
Can we just make this...
Yeah.
Can we just make this sporting thing happen, please? Everybody wants it, except for maybe Benfica fans and Porto fans. But
Ruben Amorim, I don't know if he wants it. You know what I mean?
Okay.
For that locker room. But I do believe that one day Ruben Amorim will leave Sporting with a 30 million release clause being met, because he is an old manager, very young too. But I like how you mentioned. I think Chelsea, man. I'm just gonna say that. Gonna put this clip on. Ronaldo Chelsea, Cristiano Ronaldo Chelsea. Todd Boyle is having these conversations, not with Judge Minch, but with Cristiano. I can say
somewhere Obama Yang is rolling his eyes.
He should be if Krish goes there. But I really believe that. I really believe there's a combo for that. But people, put down below the topics that you want us to talk in the next week, okay? Because the football is coming back club level. We got Premier League finally back. Primeira Liga was bold matches that are happening. Sporting against Braga. Benfica's finally back, so I love to see that. So people, put down below what are the videos you want to see at the FC Wonderkid channel. And again, if you're listening until now, please, man, don't forget to like this video, okay? We went bold in this podcast, and we are just asking for a like. Come on, 1, 2, 3. Thank you for that like, okay?
There it is. And to recap what you started so eloquently, this episode 85, with we're both wearing one, I believe, unless you took yours off. We're both wearing, these beautiful white FC Wonderkid hoodies. We're giving away 3. And whether it's the best moment, the best comment, the best moment of the World Cup, the best moment of the World Cup final, write to us what spoke to you about this World Cup in the comments. We're going to pick 3 winners, and we're going to send one of these babies along to you in white, maybe in black, whatever you like. But these can be had if you want to buy one outright at fcwonderkid.com. But I'll tell you what, I know between you and I, Alex, you have been running yourself ragged this whole tournament. So I have to give you, a little bit of this. You can't really see what I'm doing, but I'm bowing down to you for the work you put in for this whole World Cup. And I think everyone here can thank you in the comments section for everyone you put in there. I'd love to be putting in that same amount of time that you did And the hope is for us, not just at the end of this year, but in 2023 for us to expand.
For sure.
And have more voices, more things covered. But I think it's always going to come back to you and I just weekly. We're going to have our conversations about this. No matter how big you get, Alex, no matter how big you get, we're always going to come back to having these wonderful conversations about the world of football. And my goodness, it's bright, it's exciting, a lot of change ahead. But that last month, if that didn't make any neutral out there a football fan, then I frankly, you have an agenda against ever becoming a football fan, because
Exactly.
that was so much fun. But I can't wait to read these comments, and I had a lot of fun this last month, man.
Should love to see that, man. And you were here, man. And some of the predictions, I'm sure we got right. So, people, you heard Breton. Please put those comments down below. And if you comment, might as well like it too. So, thank you, people, for going bold and listening until now. Episode 85.